So we find ourselves once again in the last round at 2-1, playing for all the marbles. And our opponent's mulling to 6, and we have a pretty reasonable hand. This is one of the hands where Mana Confluence looks great just because it fixes our mana, but we are on the draw. Depending on how aggressive our opponent is, it could actually potentially cost us the game. But I'm willing to take that risk, as always, you know. There is certainly a price to having good mana. But if you have good mana, then, you know, hopefully your deck can do your thing. And I think that's what's going to happen this game. So Temple of Abandon from our opponent probably means like green-red monsters. Maybe the Hornet's Nest, Setessan Tactics version of the deck that I haven't actually played against yet. Could also be Teamer. Basically, there's a lot of options. But regardless, if he's a base red-green deck, I've normally been pretty happy with my matchup against those decks. And now I'm just going to get the hero out there because it's pretty good with the Stratus Walks. I could like walk into another walk and then potentially have 2 pretty big threats that he has to deal with. This matchup is very much a race, and to that end, I'm a little sad that I have these Battle-Wise Hoplites that aren't otherwise doing very much, but, you know, Stratus Walk can find us some nice stuff, so hopefully that's what happens. And it's pretty nice that our opponent has a bunch of ETB tap lands also, so he's not off to the fastest start. Kind of allows me to steal back the initiative and make it feel more like I'm on the play than he is. But I could certainly be in the same spot because I have some pseudo-dead cards. You know, I drew a few too many creatures, and I'm light on lands currently, so might just have the old cripple fight going on here. Him keeping open 2 mana is kind of worrisome, but maybe not that much, just because these decks don't typically play Lightning Strike, but we'll see. Out of respect for Lightning Strike, I'm going to Stratus Walk my worst creature here. And we'll see what happens. I feel like it's pretty obvious. Like, if I went for Stratus Walk on the hero, then he would be able to figure out that I have a God's Willing. But since I'm doing it on the Hoplite, I think it's pretty obvious that I don't have one. So if I were him, I would just go for Lightning Strike here if he had it. But could also just not have it. Looks like we're safe. Unfortunately, don't hit a land there, and can't play another blue enchantment. Otherwise, I would probably ordeal up the favorite Hoplites, but instead we'll just play another Hoplite, and still things aren't the worst for us, you know. Got a few beaters in play. This is probably the part of the game where he starts playing fatties, but no, he has another ETB tap land, so this could be a Knuckleblade or maybe a Crater's Claws. And yeah, he just claws the hero, it looked like. Yep. Alright, so now we have a 3rd land and can actually start doing stuff. And I think it's worth it to just ordeal up the bigger Hoplite. Get in for some points, draw some cards, hopefully hit a 4th land. I think it is worth it to play the island, which risks us not drawing an ETB untapped land. Like, I could have just played the ordeal off the Mana Confluence and then maybe drawn a Temple or a Tranquil Cove. But I think it is worth it to just not take the point of damage. Like, these decks have some hasters and a lot of reach with Crater's Claws and whatnot, so I don't really want to take unnecessary damage if I don't have to. This other favorite Hoplite might be relegated to chump blocking duty. We'll have to see. He's at 16. My guy's going to be 4 power. Next turn will be 5 power. So I'm pretty sure I can find something to kill him in 3 turns. The 1/2 favorite Hoplite it's not super exciting to block the 1/2 Heir of the Wilds, but if he has a Knuckleblade, for example, I might want to block that if he's going to haste that up. And then we just have this steady stream of chump blockers that can go with our Heliod's Pilgrim to maybe get Ordeal of Heliod and put us out of burn range. So That's going to be my plan as of right now. Probably going to play the Pilgrim next turn. And then hopefully he doesn't have some removal spell for my big hoplite. Because otherwise I'll probably be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, so I'm not going to chump block this 2 points here. And he's not even going to attack, which is strange. Like, one of my guys flies, and one of them is only a 1-2, so... And he plays the Phoenix. I don't think he's really interested in blocking here. So I think we're pretty safe to just attack with our 4-5. Now we have God's Willing to protect against Crater's Claws. So that's certainly good. And yeah, I think it's just better to Pilgrim up Ordeal of Heliod this turn and gain the 10 life. We might not actually deal him 8 points next turn, but we're going to be well out of range. And between my guy having flying and having God's Willing, I should be fine. So we'll just get in for 4 here. Play the Pilgrim. I don't think he can kill me next turn, which is awesome. And then this 10 life buffer should be enough, especially since I have God's Willing for backup. So this is kind of an unorthodox game for this matchup where we're both kind of stumbling and it's kind of a cripple fight at this point, but now we're so far ahead that I feel like we should be okay. Now he might have Temur Charm. That might be something to worry about, where I don't want to get mana leaked. So kind of need a land here. We draw a Temple, which is not great. So now we're kind of in trouble. If he has Temur Charm into attack plus Crater's Claws, I can always pants up one of my guys and block his Phoenix. Pants up with the Stratus Walk, of course. So... Huh. Yeah, I guess I kind of have to go for this. Because if I Ordeal and he mana leaks it, that stinks. But if I Stratus Walk and he mana leaks it, well, I guess no, that's fine. But then I don't have protection. I can't keep him with God's Willing. So I don't think he can mana leak if I play the walk first. And then that could maybe draw me into an untapped land, and then I can just double Heroic to kill him. Although maybe not, because if he still has Temur Charm, he can still Last Ditch fight my guy with a Death Toucher. So this is gonna be kind of touch and go here. I might still be relegated to like keeping my guy back. So my one guy can't be damaged. Walk is still on the stack. So we'll see what's going on. Pretty interesting turn here. I do think playing Stratus Walk first is probably correct. And he just goes for a Stubborn Denial. So now I wonder if I'm in the clear to just Ordeal, but he could have another counterspell, another Stubborn Denial. So if I want to Ordeal, what is the best one to put it on? Because I can put it on this Hoplite. That might be best, because then that still gives me the option of keeping the flyer back if I want. See, I think it's better to just do it on this one. Could certainly still have another Stubborn Denial. There's not much I can do about that. Okay, so the Ordeal is in. And this guy can't be damaged. I'm going to get put up to 19 life, so I think I'm safe to attack with this guy too. And now, yeah, he also has to chump block, so that's good. So I should be pretty safe here. I have 2 giant guys. I still have a God's Willing, still have a Pilgrim. And I don't think there's any way I can lose. Maybe he'll just have a random Aether Spouts next turn and just blow me out. Who knows? Don't think I need that Plains. Would allow me to Pilgrim, Stratus Walk, and have God's Willing. So yeah, I guess it's fine. And then do your worst. You have free reign. Like I said, don't think there's a card that gets him out of this, but... I think he was probably right to Stubborn Denial the Stratus Walk. It's kind of tough. You know, I have like 2 things I think that beat him, so... So the Stubborn Denials are pretty good because he might have denials of his own post-board. I mean, I know he has them in his deck, but I assume he's going to keep them in. So he might have some little counter war action going on. The Ordeals definitely seem good. I think this matchup is just mostly a race. So Bell Strike is actually pretty solid here. I don't think I need the form. There could certainly be situations where Walk does not get my guy through. But I think that's still okay. The O4s are kind of nice, actually, because... excuse me. They're bigger than his burn spells. But I don't think I need them, and they don't match up too well against the Heir of the Wilds anyway, so it's not like I can really block stuff early. So I think we're pretty close to where I want to be. Maybe I do want those O4s. Maybe I don't want all 4 Pilgrims because they're a little slow. But Teamer's not super fast. And more so win by power, you know? Like they're a turn or 2 slower goldfishing to deal 20 damage. You know, the power is that like their creatures are really good and they have things like Crater's Claws to burn people out. So maybe I have enough time to use the Pilgrims. I'm not sure. Maybe I don't want all 4 Stubborn Denials. Could see a world where maybe I only want 2. Could also see cutting a land here. So maybe I cut a land, cut a Pilgrim, put in 2 O4s. That seems pretty reasonable to me. And we'll see how it plays out. I haven't played against this matchup much, so still learning how to sideboard. There are a lot of things that seem like they'd be pretty good. So you basically just have to go with trial and error. But just, you know, try to ration your way through things. So this end's pretty good. I think I'm just going to play Temple on 1 and the Battle-Wise on turn 2. Fully expecting that to die, and then I can play this with protection and whatnot. Well, not protection, but Defiant Strike, you know. Defiant Strike on this thing is like pseudo-protection because it prevents it from getting burned. Just pretty nice. And we have 2 of them, so... So that might be good or bad. Maybe we only need 1. Would not be shocked if this guy got lit up. Or if he just played a 4-4. Yeah, he just killed it. So that's fine. Reload with some 1 deuces. And I kind of need another blue source here. Don't think it matters all that much in the scheme of things. Just might have to play it a little bit slower. Depends what happens. Things could be very different if, like, Pelucrino shows up to the party, you know? We got this big fatty we have to deal with. Here's Stratus Walk at least to get one of our guys in the air, and then next turn we could Ordeal of Thassa and draw some cards. Like, that might be a reasonable plan. Well, it doesn't look like he's really doing anything. So we're going to try for a Stratus Walk. We'll see what happens here. I don't think it really matters if he has something like Lightning Strike plus Stubborn Denial. I'd rather hold off waiting to play my land to see what I draw. Okay, so he Boon Satyr's in response, so presumably this is just going to be Stubborn Denial on my Stratus Walk. Yep. Yeah, that's fine with me. Now the question is whether or not I attack with both or try and keep one guy back and ambush him with Defiant Strike, and I think I'm better off just attacking. And he's not going to block, and then I think I should just save this Defiant Strike for next turn. So I can Ordeal and then make sure I don't get burned out. If he does block, I'd be super happy about it. You know, get to cantrip kill his guy. But it's pretty risky for him. So yeah, just pass the turn here. Hopefully nothing too bad happens to me. And he's going to go beat down, which is pretty smart. That's kind of what he has to do to win this matchup, I think. Just kind of keep me off balance long enough for his big guys to deal 20. And there's an Heir of the Wilds. So thankfully I have favored Hoplite and not some of the other stuff where I could actually just give this guy a prevention shield and freely attack into this. The other guys kind of have a problem with that, where they basically need a Stratus Walk to be effective. We'll see what else he has. This could be one of those things where he wants to play a creature but also wants to keep up Stubborn Denial, so who knows. This could also just be posturing. Trying to make it seem like he has something when he doesn't. I drew a creature, but not going to play that. I'm just going to get the Ordeal, try and draw some cards here. Get a pretty reasonable tempo advantage. Get a little velocity going on. Maybe if I draw an island or Flooded Strand or whatever, I can play out this Hoplite. And then I would certainly offer up that trade for the Boon Satyr. So yeah, favorite Hoplite. Pretty insane in this matchup when you can just have something like Defiant Strike as your counterspell. You don't actually need to draw a God's Willing all the time. What have we here? Destructive Revelry. Bang. That is really unfortunate. But our guy's going to get in there, and now we're at a point where I think I'm going to try to block and Defiant Strike my guy. Because his clock is bigger than mine by a significant amount. Especially now they got to Revelry me. I kind of took back initiative for him. You see how all these games play out, though, where they kill your first guy, even though it's not really a big threat. But it's just like the threat is there, and then you can start building yourself up slowly. So for here, I think I want to block first. Because I'm worried about him using a burn spell on my guy in response. Not necessarily it getting countered. It doesn't really matter if it gets countered, because all I really want is the heroic trigger. Just want that prevention shield. That's it. That's all I need. So you can blow me out here with a burn spell. Get a little 2-for-1. But it's worth it. If nothing else, you know, I get to block and then Ordeal of Thassa, my other Hoplite, on the next turn. So what is this? What have we here? Temur Charm. He's going to fight my guy. That's fine. He also gets an appointed damage that way, and now we draw God's Willing, which is kind of funny. So now I could just play the Hoplite and keep open God's Willing, or, you know, play the Hoplite and not attack with either. But I think it is still worth it to Ordeal. If I don't draw a creature or a blue land, I could just die to a Crater's Claws, which kind of sucks. So maybe that's not the best way to go about things. Maybe I should just play the creature. I don't know. If I play Battlewise Hoplite, I think I'm still attacking with Favored Hoplite. I would just want to put the Battlewise on the Boon Satyr, take the 3 down to 7, take him off Ferocious. And then if he wants to do anything, I have God's Willing to protect. And it doesn't look like I have God's Willing because I didn't use it last turn. So maybe Ordealing here is a little bit greedy. Because I think I like my spot if I just play the Hoplite. So yeah, we're just going to do that. We'll change gears a little bit here, but I'm still going to attack with a Favored Hoplite. I think things might be different if I didn't draw God's Willing. If I didn't draw God's Willing, I would probably have to play Ordeal. Things can get pretty hairy here, though, if he plays Sarkhan or Stormbreath. So, yeah. Now we just might be a little too far behind. Or maybe not. No, maybe he's just dead, because he attacked with everyone. Yeah, he's actually just dead. So that works out. Okay. I'll take that. It didn't look like I had a God's Willing, so I guess he thought he was just free to do this. Pro Green sounds good. Pilgrim on the bottom, don't need you. And 3, 3, and 2 is 8, which is conveniently our opponent's life total. Thank you, Shivan Reef. We drew a bunch of lands, but that's enough. Okay, cool. So 3-1 the daily shows me his Anger of the Gods. What else did you have? Just shows me one card somehow. So yeah, 3-1 the daily. Lost to Abzan in that really, really close match. Wish you guys could have seen game 1 because it was kind of entertaining, but that's it. Definitely like the deck. I think it's great. You guys saw, I think, matches against Blue-White Control and against decks like Temur where it didn't really feel particularly close. Abzan is certainly close, but these other matchups, like you're playing a different format, kind of. Like you're operating on a different axis for sure, and then you just have all these 1-mana spells that are insane, whereas everyone else is just like, oh, I have this Boon Satyr and like this Anger of the Gods, and it just doesn't really do enough. So if you guys get a chance, definitely check out this deck. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.